it's Alyssa, continuing the Montessori-inspired toddler bedroom tour. Today we're talking about floor beds, and I'm going to get all into that. But first, I just wanted to say thanks for watching. I have a 2.5-year-old, and I have a one on the way in like a month. And I love sharing the decisions that I've made in my home with you guys. I love telling you all the thoughts and all the research that I had behind it, and hopefully helping you and inspiring you along the way, or deciding what not to do. That's fine too. I just want to share my information with you. So if you are here for all things mom, all things pregnancy, maybe a little bit, maybe a bit crunchy, a whole mixture of things, then make sure you subscribe. And thank you for watching my videos. But back to the floor beds. First, let me explain what is a floor bed. In the Montessori method, it's all about having your baby, your toddler, your child discover their independence, discover their body, discover what works for them, and feeling confident in their choices and in their decisions. So the floor bed definitely plays into that. So the idea is typically you would put your baby on the floor bed from the start. They would be able to become comfortable with their environment before they're really rolling around and doing all that stuff. And then as they get older, instead of using a crib, instead of confining them, they're able to make those choices about their own sleep, about their own body, about their own comfort. And if they are rolling out of the bed, or if they're very active, it's not very far, and there are things people do to prevent them from falling out of the bed. But the idea is that the child learns about their environment, learns about their space, and then if they aren't tired, they can get up and go to their toddler baby-proof room and read a book. And then when they feel tired again, they'll go back to their bed. Or there's all these different methods and all these different ideas, but it's basically to help cultivate the independence and cultivate the awareness for the child, even in the bed. What is a floor bed? What classifies as a floor bed? Exactly what it sounds like, a mattress on the floor. So typically there are no cribs, there are no like toddler, like little white plastic beds. It's just the mattress on the floor. Most people start out from that from infancy, and they like have that same bed until they're like 10 or whatever. And there's lots of different styles, whether it's just a mattress on the floor or the little house frames are really popular right now. They're really cute. And then there's also like just a frame that sets directly on the floor. Now, we did not do this from the start, and I kind of wish we had, but I also love our sleep journey that we've had. On night one, when we came home from the birthing center, we put Rio in his crib, and he slept in his crib like the whole, I mean, not straight through the night, obviously. Night one, my child slept through the night. That would be very concerning. But night one, Rio went down into his crib. My husband and I slept nearby, on alert, obviously getting up, breastfeeding him, and putting him back down in the crib. He took naps in his crib. That was like what happened. Side note, parent tip, someone told us to be loud and make noise and have light, and we did that from the very beginning, and Rio will fall asleep anywhere, and I highly recommend that to anyone. Don't buy blackout curtains. Questionable on the noise machines. We just played loud music, we banged pots and pans, and we had light in his room from day one, and this boy will sleep anywhere to this day. Back to what I was saying, we did that until maybe like 6 months, and then around 6 months we started noticing that he was waking up at like 6 a.m. and ready for the day. Not the game that me and my husband play. I'm a morning person, but our life and our schedule does not play that. We go to bed late, Rio goes to bed late, and we go into work late. Most days we don't really have to be at work until 9 or even later. So getting up at 6 a.m. just felt way too early in those newborn stages. So we found that Rio would go back to sleep if we nursed him in the bed. So he kind of started co-sleeping with us, more just kind of by accident, for just like 2 hours every morning. So he would sleep in his crib all night, and then he would come to bed with us and he would sleep with us. He would fall back asleep nursing, which I know is very controversial this way and that way, but we loved it, worked great for us. He'd fall back asleep nursing and then stay in bed with us for like 2 more hours. And over time, that just became more and more and more until we were co-sleeping, and we didn't really realize it or plan on it. And we love it. it's a little difficult now with being pregnant and having a toddler who sometimes kicks you in the head and is a little wild, and Rio is definitely a wild sleeper. But the snuggles and cuddles and giggles and the smiles in his sleep and the way he wakes up in the morning, like, we absolutely love having Rio in our bed. He turned 1, we transitioned his crib into the toddler bed. Like, it came with like the rails and stuff, so it was the same crib that we just turned into a toddler bed, which before we did that, Rio's crib was just a place like a ball pit. We just put balls in it and he played in it. But then we turned it into the toddler bed, and that really didn't work very well for us because he was so used to sleeping with us. He would kind of start out in the toddler bed, he would nap in the toddler bed, and then he would come into our room all the time. And eventually he just wasn't even sleeping in his toddler bed, and we moved full into like co-sleeping. Now, since we've been pregnant, we've been preparing Rio and our bed for the newest baby. So we definitely start Rio off in his bed, and he stays there most of the night unless he gets scared or hungry or spooked. Then he comes into our bed and he has the freedom and ability to do that. So we have not done the traditional floor bed method of starting at infancy. You put your baby in the bed and they gradually become more and more aware, but I really do like the idea of that. But I also love the idea of cuddling my baby safely. Of course, there's ways to do it safely, just clarifying that right now. I think for the baby that's coming, we have like a DockATot and like a couple things that we're going to start out with, and then eventually the plan will be to have Rio move upstairs and then baby come here. So that's the long-term plan of buying the bunk beds. But I love how practical floor beds are. Like, your toddler's not gonna roll out of bed. But I love the idea of the floor bed, that a child can lay down, you put them down for nap, you shut the door, and then most people have cameras, and then you let the child wind down themselves. And maybe that's them getting up and like going around the room and like touching things, pulling out a toy or two that you've left out specifically for this purpose, and then them going and laying back down. And usually what happens is the kid gets up, does their thing, and then it goes and lays back down. Maybe they do that a couple times, but over time they begin to realize like, oh, this is my time to go down to bed. Rio is just a really good sleeper, so I'm probably going to come back to this video and cry and laugh with my next child because I feel like you don't get 2 of those. I feel like you don't get 2 really good sleepers, but we're going to try. We're going to hope for a really good sleeper, brother and sister set. I don't mind the cuddles. I'm a very cuddly person, and my husband's not the world's most cuddly person, so I think I accidentally created a cuddle monster of a child by just getting all that attention and affection that I want from my kid. But I love the idea of the floor bed. Anyways, thanks for tagging along. Floor beds. Floor beds. Love them.
Hey, buddy. Where you going? Yeah. Did you have a good nap?